Oh, I think it went. Yes!
All right.
It's running. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Reverend John Wheeler podcast. It's named after me. I am now realizing that we're doing this live for the first time ever.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm just going to be compulsively drawn to talking to the two people looking at me.
Yeah.
There's just nothing I can do about that. For the people at home, not that they normally do, but they're extra probably going to not be able to follow along, and that's completely fine. Like, there's no format to this. We're not going to solve a murder mystery. You're not going to learn how to make Christmas pudding. This is just the ramblings of a washed-up, almost was rock star who should have died at 28, who lived to 43, and that's me.
I don't know, we might talk about pudding.
Oh, we will talk a little about pudding if we get to the pudding company.
Exactly.
But
If we get to the pudding company. Okay.
I am here because of Jason Krueger, who asked me to be here, who's sitting here, and he is one of the people from the Monday Night Comedy Show, which enables my weird midlife crisis thing of deciding to be a stand-up comedian rather than completely getting my shit together after kind of quitting being a touring rock and roll man. And I applaud you for that.
Well, thank you. And I'm also artistic director of Fearless Comedy Productions, which is the production company that's a nonprofit that actually runs this monthly thing that we're doing. This is part of a double-blind, double feature show. So first half of the show is an improv show, and then the second half is something different every month. So
I think if I ever do this again, I would like for just the podcast to be incorporated right into the middle of the improv show somehow.
You got to talk to Eric about that.
Okay, and I don't know how that would work, but see, that's
like, would it
how
be like-
improv goes. It would just be like, I'm going to set up the desk.
Would it just...
Okay, like you guys will do the prompts and things, and I will not cooperate or follow along at all, but I will kind of just chime in
John
and be
not
part of the
cooperating
action.
or following along is like right on.
And-
my favorite set you ever did is one that you had to remind me existed because I think I blacked it out for your benefit. But John had a couple too many once and went up a little late in the show once. And a couple of times during his 10-minute set, which I think went 6, thankfully.
Yeah.
He was like, Jason, what was I talking about? And I'm in the back of the booth, in the back of the show, in the booth with the God mic, and I couldn't follow what he was saying.
I got so drunk that I was like, but not like falling down. I was just like, yeah, and then I went, man, fuck, Jason, what was I just talking about? And you just pushed the thing, you're like, I'm not really sure, buddy. And we had been going for 3 minutes by that point.
Yep.
And then I just gave up. I love that that's your favorite set of mine. None of the actual good ones where lots of people laughed a whole bunch.
You're
Like those
good.
are,
There's
those aren't as fun as my tragic
seeing
failures.
somebody that I know can be funny in front of an audience, just eat it once in a while, is that's just, it's humbling for everybody, but it's also part of live comedy performance.
It is.
Every once in a while, you're going to perform something live that's supposed to be funny, and you're going to get fucking crickets or just feel everybody hate you. And that's just a part of it. That's part of the challenge, and it's part of the magic of it is that it can go so terribly off the rails at any moment.
I wasn't feeling a thing that night, though. That was
I'm sure.
I was having a good time, just nobody else
I'm
was.
sure there are a lot of people feeling for you that night.
Oh, God, it feels like every time I watch my friend Bill Marashi do comedy. I think I understand. That's some inside baseball. Bill used to help me host the podcast. Now Meredith does, however. This
Meredith the Orange.
Meredith the Orange.
Yes.
Like,
Apparently there is a color-coded Meredith system in the
But
Twin
not
Cities,
like-
and now I am officially Meredith the Orange.
so like Eric the Red, not like Red Sonja. Not Orange Meredith, but
Yeah.
Meredith the Orange.
Yes.
Okay. I like that. I have known Meredith for a very, very long time. Also enabler of mine into doing the
I'm
podcast.
just here for the laugh track and keep you in order.
Yeah, I do want to make it very clear for everyone at home who probably already knows this, but for you guys here, that this is not an interview podcast. When I bring people to sit next to me, it is inconsequential exactly what's going on in their lives. We might get to it.
Yeah.
I don't really...
I kind of wedge a plug in there on a couple of times. I think this is this the second time I've been on?
Yeah, because you came to my house once and
Yes.
did it.
Yes.
And that's where you learned that I have 2 bars.
Yes.
And
And we watched
And-
a movie, and I don't even remember what it was.
oh, we
we
watched...
watched Cocaine Bear.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because we watched and then reviewed Cocaine Bear. It was a lot of fun.
It was really fun, like watching a movie and reviewing it directly afterwards, except for the fact that Cocaine Bear was disappointing as fuck. It could have just been fill-in-the-blank monster movie.
Well, and like I said before on the other one, it's somebody got this script or got this premise and was like, I'm gonna make this art. And like you don't
Yeah,
do
and
that.
that
You
was a
just, No, you
mistake.
just make like a fucking goofy movie about a bear on cocaine. Just do that.
Yeah,
There was plot. Why was there plot?
No, I wanted there to be a bear, and I wanted it to be loosely based off what really happened. But what really happened is he just ate all the cocaine and then died and became like an internet meme.
Wait, didn't we like remake our own versions of what would be the best cocaine bear?
Well, right,
And
I-
mine ended up being the Trailer Park Boys.
It's sort of, I can't quite remember where we went, but all I know is like there was no speedboats, there was hardly any gunfire, there was almost no hookers. Like the whole thing did not scream cocaine bear to me. And they also should have worked in the 1975 Chicago Bears because they were very famously on a lot of cocaine.
Okay.
And the press knew about it and wouldn't report on it because there wasn't much for video
Bears.
back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bears. And the 1975 Chicago Bears, I'm not a sports person. I just like it when bad sports things happen, like like when Doc Ellis pitched the no-hitter on acid. Like
Yep.
I like that. I don't like when normal things happen, like people hit a ball and somebody makes $1 million. Like I don't care. But
do it on drugs.
you do it on enough
Now I'm
drugs,
impressed.
and then somebody gets shot. Like, oh boy, I'm like way in. It's why you guys have to know what the Upright Citizens Brigade is. You remember?
Yes.
Comedy
Are you
Central,
talking
like,
about the gun circle?
the Thunderball.
Yeah, Thunderball. Yes. That
There's
was
like
a great sketch.
a car you can just drive around the ring and run people over.
There was a circle where there's a literal live handgun that's illegal
Yep.
to go in. You can't go in the gun circle.
You're not supposed to, but then at the
Every
end.
once in a while, someone goes in
That
the
was
gun
a literal Chekhov gun, I think, because you
yeah.
saw it there and you just know someone's
You
going to
just know
use
someone's gonna do
the
it, yeah.
Thunderball Glock, which
Yeah.
you were just not supposed to touch. But yeah, like that to me is the ultimate in sports. Also, the fucking all the mascots were in the witness protection program, so they could never take their costumes off. They're at home, they're just knocking shit in their kitchen over. That show is so incredible, But anyway, the only reason I care about the 75 Chicago Bears, they chimed in about they thought the Cocaine Bear movie was going to be about them when they heard the teaser trailer. And they were like, it's okay to talk about it now, but apparently they kind of used to threaten the press. Like they were big dudes and they had all the money and they'd be like, we're going to expose you. And they followed the rule that I tend to follow when I deal with authority called prove it fuckface. And
I'm sure that's true of your real one.
it actually kind of has.
I feel like you get away with more shit than a lot of people get to.
In the famous words of my friends David Murder, the fact that I've never seen the inside of a jail cell is a goddamn miracle.
Yeah,
Just for the drunk and disorderly alone on tour and stuff like that. But I mean, then when you add in all the fraud, Jesus.
Yeah, I remember. I think you might have been talking about this on another episode I listened to, but being in charge of this venue, was it in Burnsville or something?
Yes, I was in charge of a all ages music venue called the Garage in Burnsville
I've
for
been to a show there.
10 years.
10 years.
From
okay.
2002 to 12 about.
Okay.
And I went from I started running sound there, and then they started letting me book all the shows, and then eventually I kind of just ran the whole place. Then I was in a band, so I would leverage it. So I'd be like, hey, I can get you guys from Des Moines a gig at this show with all these kids at it if you get us a couple of shows. And I just cross-wired that constantly until we developed this whole touring following, and then people saw that, and we got to open for bigger bands. And I guess it's what you're supposed to do. I did what was called business, apparently. I didn't have parents that paid attention to me or taught me anything, and I didn't go to school, but I somehow learned how to business. But instead of applying it to anything that makes money, I applied it to being in a rock and roll band, which just makes you addicted to drugs and broke. But it's fine. I never really got addicted to drugs. I became fond of a few.
A few.
Yeah. Addicted isn't really the right answer. Okay, so let's see. Was there anywhere else we were going? Or I have topics. I actually
You have topics?
I know. There
You
was
did not
things
tell
I was.
me what topics we were going.
No, you don't need to know what they are. It doesn't matter. It's
just
just
need to know places.
yeah, it's important that I keep track of them, sort of, because I have to
you're
keep
the
it going.
best person for that, I'm sure.
And I should sort of know so I can kind of.
Well, I told you earlier that I wanted to talk.
know.
Okay, so I was at work, and you know where I work, but not everybody knows. So I was a freelance video guy for a long time, and I did all sorts of sound video, design T-shirts for things, just that kind of stuff. And I finally got into a situation where I'm like, I could probably do all of these things at a job that pays me regularly, rather than just living in panicky fear all the time that I'm never going to get another gig again every time I get one. And so now I work for a company that makes bongs called Minnesota Legit. That's from right here in town. And actually a mile from here, I think, is where the studio is. And I just do the video and graphics and some of the event coordination, the things I've learned over the course of my life for this wacky place. And we had this giant, there's this thing called the Legacy Cup, and it's like this big cannabis festival that happened at Surly Field on Saturday, and they let you, peddle your wares and stuff. So we like set up a booth, and I called the fire marshal from Minneapolis, and because we had to get a permit to actually blow glass like in our tent, you know what I mean, especially because we can do it where the studio is, but not out in the open unless we have a permit or whatever. And like we were the only people to do it too, so we got lots of people coming to watch, and it was real fun. But the wild thing is I don't know if everyone here has seen Silence of the Lambs, but on the phone, the fire marshal guy for Minneapolis is like talking to Buffalo Bill on the phone. It's a nice Buffalo Bill that I was like, hey, so you have to do all the permit stuff. Did you have to do the permits for like the Rammstein concert at USD? And you're like, oh, yeah. I had to do so he was really friendly, but he was like talking to a guy that skins people and wears their clothes kind of like, and he's this weird low voice, but he gave us the permit. So we did the whole thing, and that story kind of goes nowhere, but I was at work today, and my buddy Spencer, who works there, was talking about how the year was almost over. And he was like, man, it's going to be Halloween soon, and then it's like November, December, and it's 2024. And he's like, fuck. There's going to be another election. Like that whole thing that we all hate so much.
Like primaries and debates are happening.
Right. No, you hear about it and stuff, but it's still not real yet, It's like your parents are like fighting, but they haven't like brought you into the living room to be like, so you're going to have to live with your mom most of the time. Like we haven't had the talk yet.
Okay.
All we've heard is a glass break. Maybe it was an accident, maybe thrown in anger.
Commercials aren't there yet either.
And if you don't actually watch TV with commercials and you have ad blockers, you don't really have to ever know anything about what's going on, which is how I kind of prefer to live.
Yeah.
Except for, caveat to that, vote in fucking primaries and vote for your neighborhood association. Get involved. You don't have to deal with the lesser of two evils if you actually vote for everybody along the whole way. You get like the third down the evil train and just,
well, and the local people
7 or 8 generations, and you might actually be able to pick the greater of two goods.
And the local elections are the ones where people can actually directly do more for, like, the people that matter to you and you.
Yeah, so I want to, because I'm on my neighborhood association. I'm a homeowner, and I love getting into a group. It's kind of like this, except for, like, nobody's supposed to try to be funny. Okay. But it is funny. And I do just as much yelling and all that stuff. So, like, I'm involved. I just want to throw it out there that when I say I don't pay attention to anything, I am, like, involved. But, like, as far as the big stuff goes, where it's just kind of like, Hunter Biden had a prostitute. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't know who that is. And it's okay. The sex work is real work. Come on, people. But, yeah, so, like, but when Spencer brought that up, I was like, oh, fuck, it is going to start getting, like, real. There's going to be signs all over the place. I'm not going to be able to ignore it.
Yeah.
You're going to drive around and you're going to see people's opinions, not just on the internet, but painted on cardboard in real life.
And yeah.
You can't comment on those, and so it's kind of stymieing. You can run them over with your car, but whatever.
Maybe you shouldn't, though.
I'm not here to tell anybody how to live. The point is
dropping hits, so maybe they do it anyway. Is that the point?
Yeah, if you've never thought about how fun it would be to just see like a million political signs of a certain bent in someone's yard with a lot of crazy misspelled and threatening things on it, to just like take your Prius and maybe just drive through. I'm like, what are they really gonna do? Do you think people like that have a ring cam they know how to use?
The ultimate vehicle of revenge, the Prius.
When you have one as old as mine, you really stop caring about what you run over with it. Like that's kind of. I have a Prius with almost 300,000 miles on it. 2 more, and I might consider getting a new car.
All right.
But yeah, so I was unfortunately reminded that it's 2024, and that I'm gonna have to start we're gonna have to start hearing about it a lot. But I had a theory at work, and this is what I wanted to share on the podcast today, that we're not even gonna make it to like a real election. Like I've been preaching forever that about a year ago, before Mid-Journey image generator started becoming a thing with people like last summer, if you'd asked me, I would have said optimistically that like the singularity where we invent an artificial intelligence and then it creates something smarter than itself or whatever, all bets are off, that will happen sooner or later, but how long will that take? And a lot of people would say that even sort of like, I don't know, conservatively, maybe 25 years. Some people were saying longer than that, whatever, but like, and I would sort of have agreed. 20, 25 years, we might hit some sort of point like that. After I saw the advances and all the chat stuff and the Midjourney thing and the way stuff kind of keeps happening, I pushed the clock to 3.
Okay.
3 years, which means one more of those years is going to be 2024. And we have like all these wild things going on, like there's robot cops that they're using in New York now. I don't know if you've seen that.
I think I've heard something about it, but yeah.
They drive around. It's called K5, which suggests that there will be like a K6 and a K7. And
Skip 9, go to 10.
no, if you do K9, it's like a cool robot dog or whatever, like the cassette tape that comes out of the one Transformer guy. Like, you know, I whatever. But it just rolls around and I think it yells. No, I don't even know if it yells at people. I think it just films people and whatever. It doesn't even have facial recognition, but it's a thing they're doing, and they're doing it for really cheap. It costs the city like $9 an hour or something like that to like have these
To automate law enforcement.
automate law enforcement. Yeah, and people are like, well, I already don't.
They never seen RoboCop.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going with this. Like, we're already there. Like, yeah, it's silly. Like, there's a restaurant in Maple. Where the hell is that? Oakdale? The place where Snake Discovery is.
Oakdale and that area.
There's an amazing Asian fusion. Not fusion. It's just a couple of different Asian restaurants. Well, I guess that's fusion. They're fusing different Asian cuisines. Not into one. I mean, you have to pick different. They just have a lot of choices, but they're all good. Gordon Ramsay taught me while I watched him on TV. He didn't tell me.
The restaurant is called Bamboo.
It's called Bamboo, and anyway, it's really good. But they have a robot working there. That's where I'm going with this. And it's like it brings stuff out on a couple of trays. The robot has sort of replaced one of the runner positions, right? It's not the waiter. It's not the waiter. It doesn't take your order. Like, it just kind of comes out. It has a little LED face, and it sings a little song or whatever. And I wanted to tell you this in particular, and we'll get to the robot policing thing in a second. But I saw, and my wife and Meredith, we were there eating, and we saw the whole gamut of human emotions in reaction to this robot.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it was exactly like Star Wars had predicted.
Yeah?
Fucking right down to the like, okay, so like, we were being cute with it. We're like, well, thank you very much, Mr. Robot. You know, we're just talking to it, anthropomorphizing it. There's people that just kind of would like roll their eyes and ignore it or whatever and like just didn't do anything. There's people that were actively like hostile towards it. There's like a bro guy that was like, whoa, whoa. And the guy that owned the place was like, hey, don't do that to my robot. Things like 16 grand. Hey, we don't serve your kind here. It's like, we just saw every response to this thing and like they were all different or whatever. And this is a food runner. This is a thing that was bringing me my Mongolian beef, and people had some Mongolian beef with this thing. Like, it just, like, for no reason at all. Some people, got a little bit of that, like, I mean, you know, like a white 25-year-old guy is pretty easy to get into a defensive posture. Yeah, that's
Really?
how they live their lives.
I never would have noticed.
But like, you'd think that maybe the one exception is like a little like iPhone-looking robot that's bringing them their beer.
Yeah,
like
literally bringing you food and drink.
It's all it's doing is helping you and singing you a song. You'd be like, what, bro? So you think that the girl you have on a date that's like impressed by how just rude you were to the rest of the server is going to be even more exciting that you're trying to fight a robot,
right?
But not one that, you know, could easily beat you up. Well, someday that guy is going to get smashed into a paste in the streets of New York by like the K11 or something like that. You know, it is going to be like an Ed 209 from RoboCop. Like, what they'd be like, oh, the K5 defense robot, well, it's not very fast. It has cameras but no facial recognition and blah, blah, blah. So, you know that like the K6 will be like, well, there's facial recognition and it can share information and whatever. The K7 will be like, you know, a lot of people have been spray painting these things and kicking them over. So they do have bear mace in them that it can deploy. And it's non-lethal and whatever. And, you know, it'll warn you a few times. And, you know, and it's like, well, bear mace is so imprecise. Maybe some kind of taser. They'll fiddle around with it. And plus, you know, you can't give it the decision. So they'll be like, the K8, it'll be like, oh, well, we do have to bounce it to an actual, like, poorly trained, unhinged cop. And then they push a button that goes like, oh, shoot tasers into this guy or whatever, like that. And then eventually they'll be like, well, the cops are really making poor decisions. Let's just automate that. Honestly, we've done a lot of research with self-driving cars. Let's let the K9, and this will be the cool dog one, it will decide who it bites. And I think it'll do a better job than humans, and you know how the police can be, and the system is kind of broken. So yeah, the robot will be okay. And, you know, then from there on, the K10, that's when you start getting into the, you know, it has You can fly. It's like just
Yeah.
low-flying drones with machine guns. That
I don't
just
know if
hunts you
that's-
down based on your pheromone and genetic trait. You don't even really need to see anymore. It sees you the way that the weird things in Aliens see stuff. They don't have eyes, but they can find you.
I don't know if that's scarier than climate change, but thankfully we'll get to see it both at the same time.
Yeah, it is awesome that when everyone is being displaced from climate change, our solution to the, you get displaced, like we have all the water here and everything, so people are going to be coming here.
Yeah.
And other people are going to get frustrated about that.
Yeah.
And the people coming here might not be able to find work. They might have to turn to crime and whatever like that. So the people who are a little bit on the fence about the murder robots are going to get a little bit more, I'm just tired of it happening in my backyard. It's the thing I always point out at the neighborhood meetings that I'm amazed that I'm not kicked out of, is that some people are kind of like, if you let crime get bad enough, the powers that be will finally see the error of their ways. And that doesn't make any sense, because what happens is those people don't live here.
Yeah.
The people that make the decision live places where crime and homelessness don't happen, because you, me, and everyone here are not allowed to go there. We are definitely not allowed to go there. People who make more money than everyone in this room combined are not even allowed to go there. This is for,
Yeah.
it's a yacht people kind of place or whatever. And they make the decisions, and they don't care how bad it gets here. But the people that do live here go like, wow, it's getting kind of scary out. But I'm gonna assume that the humans will do the right thing, and I still have hope. Now, once millions of people are displaced from climate change, and we have the option of murder robots possibly being pushed by a big, smooth-talking strongman leader that's going, hey guys, we're just going to use the robots responsibly, but we're going to get this whole thing under control, and everyone's going to go, well, I don't really know about that, and when no one's looking, they're just going to vote for the guy in the robots, and, then we'll have it. But there is still a good chance that climate change will kill us before it gets that far, so we will never be stuck
know.
in that moral situation.
I don't know if this is real or not, but
I don't know if anything is real or not.
Apparently, they're trying to build a hotel in space instead of trying to.
Yes.
That's real? Okay.
Yeah.
thought it was-
I saw the thing about a hotel in space.
By trying, who
Instead of-
is trying? Like Elon Musk? Who's doing it? Who's
I
trying
don't
to
know
build?
who
Okay.
it was, but all I know is I just saw a picture of some circular thing in space. And
Oh, like the
They're
thing that
trying to-
remember when Walt Disney and Werner von Braun were hanging out together, and they're gonna build a giant space. It's on YouTube right now. Have you ever looked at that?
No.
Oh my God, it's in that beautiful bluish Technicolor, and Walt Disney's just sitting there smoking cigarettes, and he's just like we're gonna have spacemen flying around the moon. Here, a recent addition to NASA, Werner von Braun. And for those that don't know who that is, he was in the Third Reich and ran the rocket factory where he would hang the 5 slowest, employees is the wrong word, every Friday. And he would just sit there with Walt Disney talking about how they're going to have a giant gravity wheel in space. It sounds a lot like this hotel that you're describing. So did they just unfreeze both of those fuckers and now we're just dealing with that again? Okay.
I don't know.
Is that what happened?
No, I mean,
Okay.
I certainly hope not.
You hope, yes. I also hope they did not unfreeze Walt Disney and Werner von
I feel
Braun.
like if they had we can get you back from being cryogenically frozen, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm being a little naive, but I feel like that would be newsworthy. I feel like that would hit the news, right?
Maybe not.
Well,
Maybe
and
they
that's the
don't
thing where I
want
maybe
you
being-
to
yeah.
know that. Maybe that's because
The poors don't need to know that they can be cryogenically frozen
Well,
and
if we're
cured,
not
right?
distracted by the aliens, if we're not distracted by something else, maybe this will do it.
I am really surprised at how small of a deal everybody made the alien thing. That
Yeah.
the government was finally
Not
like,
really.
yeah, I guess they were aliens. Sorry, everybody.
That just goes to show where we are with everything. It's almost like they had to wait till something like post-pandemic where everyone is just so burnt out and it's by the way, there's aliens, and everyone's like, okay, cool.
Great.
Why is everything so expensive?
Does that mean we have
yeah.
to stay in our houses again some more?
Yeah, some of you are going to be way too excited about that. The rest of us are going to go fucking shining on everybody if we have to do this again. Inject me with whatever you fucking have to. I need to go talk to people. But yeah, so that all leads to this theory that I had. It actually kind of does.
Okay.
That the next election, it will not actually be. Let's just play a game of this. Let's just assume that the two very old people involved die of old age between now and then.
Okay.
And we end up ourselves with two choices. We have on one side a AI president. It's going to be a super intelligent, might just be like Max Headroom, doesn't have to have a body or anything. And if it does, maybe it'll be like the headless body of Spiro Agnew on Futurama or something. That'd be cool. He just carries around a TV with his own head on it. Like, I'd like that. That old school, I'm 43, that old school weird video drone.
Max Headroom, I will vote Max
Yeah.
Headroom.
Like I want like a big mechanical suit like Pinky, like Brain from Pinky and the Brain wears when he pretends to be a person, but carrying around a Max Headroom TV that's just like, and like that's our president. I assume that the computer stuff behind it will make him like make whatever pragmatic choices, you know, in the face of a nuclear war or something.
I don't think conservatives are going to go for a robot president.
Okay, well here's their other choice. We kind of go all the way with the whole non-human biology alien thing, and the other choice is an alien. So
I'm like more okay with an alien.
that's fucking fascinating because I'm sort of more okay with the AI. Now let's get. Well, actually, Meredith, who would you pick before we get into this?
Jesus, I don't know.
A lot of people are picking Jesus at that.
Thing where we lost Roe versus Wade. You have to vote this time. Not just bitch on Facebook. Pick. Spin the wheel of doom, Meredith. Spin the wheel of doom.
I'm gonna go with the alien.
All right, so I'm the odd man out here.
Well, I
with
mean,
the
like,
AI.
I think it's a tough choice, but I think a pragmatic outsider that understood the problems from a different perspective might be useful.
Yeah.
And AI is only as good as what it's been used to train it. And a lot of times that's where a lot of the bias comes from.
Let's assume that it's hit AGI and that it is just making its own decisions now, and it's like it's learning as it's sentient now. It's conscious. It has what Arthur C. Clarke would refer to as soul.
In that case, I need to know its personality, right? Because if it's gotten to sentience, then it's probably going to have a personality. And if it's like a vindictive asshole, then like maybe not. But if it's like,
but what if it just knows the exact perfect way to seem like it's not a vindictive asshole? But
then it's studied a lot of politicians. Like,
yeah,
obviously.
it's exactly. It might seem like an awesome choice, but then it's not. But then it is. Maybe it has no reason to really lie to us, being a super intelligence or whatever like that. But here's.
I feel like an alien wouldn't even bother with this.
That's the problem, because the alien is bothering. The alien is running for president for some goddamn reason. You shouldn't really have to do that. Like, they should be from a Type 3 civilization that can control the sun and their solar system with a Dyson sphere, and yet they've decided to run for president of this failing empire that we live in right now. What is this alien up to?
I mean, like, it can't be worse than what Trump did, right? Like,
that is always going to be the answer until everyone in this room has aged and died, but I kind of feel like maybe the alien's trying to steer us in the right direction. That could be.
yeah, I can see that.
But what I'm more interested in is how people are going to sell it, right? Like, there's going to be political ads and things like that. They're going to be trying to be like, oh, the alien's better.
So actually, if we want to be like super critical,
and we do.
The alien would not be able to run for president unless it was literally born on U.S. soil. Because if you are a naturalized alien, you don't get to run for the office of president.
All right, just to keep this rolling then, we're going to go off some of the crazy shit I've read on Reddit and a few Joe Rogan guests and just say the alien is actually like an ancient thing that predates humans that has been here for like a really, really long time, but technically within the continent of North America was where it was born. So it might be
we know they already exist, so how do you know they haven't already had spawns?
Or perhaps it was, we could simplify the crazy thing I said into just like,
but this one was born here.
This one was born here, yeah. This is a naturalized alien, so it would be like, one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's kids who could run for president or whatever, which.
Right.
Arnie would have been an president.
I don't know, would you vote for Clark Kent, right? Because it is a naturally born alien. Well, no, he actually was a...
No, he landed from outer space. It would have to be Superman's kid.
All right.
And then Superman, people go through a rebellious phase, but I think Superman's kid would fall in line. And maybe he would kind of believe in, like, the kind of Mr. Rogers philosophy that, at least in the old comic book, Superman seemed to have. Like, in new movies, he just flies around and punches people in the face, and I don't know, but...
And I feel like that's like really core to what the character is like being that incredibly powerful thing, but for what are at least supposedly virtuous reasons, right?
Yeah.
Because like it's no longer truth, justice in the American way. It's like something like truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, or something that's like more universal and not like.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it is exactly.
I think it's pretty reasonable, and also just for the sake of argument, let's assume the AI was definitely like, it's made in America, like, so it technically would be a citizen, and that would be a really good talking point. It's just it's like, oh, we can have some alien that doesn't understand what it's like to be human, and though the machine is not human, it was at least made by American workers in American factories right here in America, and everybody claps.
I think that is like maybe the one time that the third party candidate has a chance. Because there would be enough people just totally freaked out by either of those two options that they would try to vote for a third party.
Now, who would this like RFK, like who's the third party in this fucking thing? It's a robot, an alien, or the worst person you've ever seen in your life, but who's not even as funny as Trump. He's just kind of bad.
Yeah,
like what?
I mean, I will admit, just the level of stupid that man is just, it is comical, but
it's condescending too. As stupid as he seems to think that everyone else is kind of palpable, and that's why I don't like him. How dare you assume my IQ, sir?
Yep.
Just no.
And that's the thing that working where I work in my day job, there's a lot of that. You can't just assume somebody's IQ because you notice a couple of things about them.
Yeah. Or make broad generalizations and stuff like that. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess the alien the alien AI presidential race would maybe have some strong.
I think you should put a poll wherever you post this, on the YouTube or whatever.
Spotify lets you do it.
All right,
let you do real polls. So we'll see. We'll see who votes them. But I just have to assume that if the Clintons or whoever can, have people killed, a super intelligent robot and an alien can definitely do that. So I suspect that any third party will relive the fate of Paul Wellstone or something. It's like a lot of planes magically were crashing around then, changing political.
I worry about the AI being too efficient at that.
The AI would be excellently efficient at that, and I think that's one of the reasons that I would vote for it, because I got to say that, listen, and I've said this before on a different podcast, but I just think honesty is the best policy. I think that and we're not going to have a choice eventually. We're going to have, how people, there's a lot of jingoistic propaganda, it turns out our freedom was hidden somewhere in Afghanistan. We got to go. Yeah. And it's no, I don't think people fall for that so much anymore.
I hope not.
No, and they don't. And I want honesty. I want it to be people aren't going to want to join the military. They're not going to be well, what are we really doing here? We should be look, guys, there is a giant poppy field, and everybody that helps us get at it, we cut you in a little bit. We get you wet your beak. I want the U.S. military-industrial complex to actually become more like the mafia. Yeah, but everybody that drives a tank, the new uniform is just a black turtleneck with a gold chain, and it's hey, we're gonna go get this pipeline for the CIA. It's why? Who gives a fuck? They're paying us.
Yes, because that will certainly eliminate any toxicity in the military, just like that.
Right? Honestly,
let's just make us all marauders, right?
Well, what? There's no good parts of it. I mean, what? I mean, God bless whoever did things. I don't even know what you say anymore. But I just mean that going forward, we should be this is for money, and we're gonna split it up amongst everybody. We should get a little bit of that's where the UBI could come from. They're guys, we're gonna have universal basic income, and some of you are just gonna have to help us go out there and get it. It's we might have to blow up some places where nobody there is actually an enemy combatant, but I mean they're blocking this trade route. And if it gets all unblocked, then a whole bunch of money comes out, and then everybody gets that. And since AI is coming, no one's going to have a job. The only job, there's going to be no jobs because there's computers. There's going to be a lot of drones and things doing this military stuff. But the few people involved are going to know that they are making, a Christmas possible for a family by firing Stinger missiles into wherever. A hospital in some other place.
Yeah.
Now, these are all things the AI president would probably be.
That's probably why you support the AI president.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that would be the AI president's thing, which I do agree with.
But how long is that transparency about how obvious they're gonna not have backlash? I mean, granted, it's the government, so they are the ones with all the money and guns.
Let's get into that. What kind of backlash are you envisioning? I want to get in front of it.
You want to get in front of it?
So the government is run by an evil computer that just leveled with everybody that, look, we could have UBI as long as you just, some of you guys get to fly around in like remote controlled planes and blow things up. And if you're cool with that, we're all going to be living fat off the hog.
I mean,
but that's
like,
just where it's
anybody
coming
that's like
from.
against imperialism is gonna like be pissed off about that.
Okay, well, they'll be rounded up and whatever. But the thing, yes, they would be really pissed off about that. But then again, if you were like, okay, well, that's cool. It's like we can either do this or like, I don't know what to tell you. There's no economy anymore or whatever. Like,
I mean, if it's an AI president, maybe that is like, well, the wealth is distributed weird, so here's the new tax laws.
that's what I'm saying. The AI president would distribute everything, so everybody will be doing great. You'll just know that there's blood all over every dollar you have. Yeah. Now you will know. And now it'll be more efficient and less circuitous and perhaps less corrupt. Because, like, as I've said, I did a stage joke about how, like, how many levels between you and Satan's asshole are you okay with your money being? You know what I mean? It's like, I only buy from, there's this nice couple and they have an organic farm or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. And the minute they're like, look, we need this machine and it's very, very carbon neutral. It is on Amazon though, so we're gonna have to buy that. And up it goes. Like, so you're like, yeah, but I didn't buy the machine. 5 layers? 2 layers? I don't know. Where do you have to really be? Like, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, and the AI president would certainly know that. And he might just go, they might just be like, what the fuck ever? Like, we got to do what we got to do here. We're going to blow up as few people as possible to make this happen.
Or maybe the AI president, were there one, would try.
Were there one? This whole thing is kind of made up, my friend.
Well,
yes.
I
mean, until it isn't, actually. But
just your sparkling optimism just like gets me up in the morning, John, and just like helps me through my day. Wow. But it's entirely possible that like maybe if there was something like that running a country, it would, make moves to not have it be a capitalist system anymore.
Eventually so. There might be an omelet made from a few broken eggs.
Sure.
And those broken eggs will look like those cool scenes like at the beginning of Terminator 2 for a while, but then it's going to get all like, figured out. And it'll be okay. Far less human skulls being rolled over by giant tank treads and lasers and explosions and
cool. Things. Just Diet Skynet. Great. Thanks,
No, more like Skynet of diminishing returns. It's like, look, it had to start like this, but we reined it in, Like living through the American Revolution would probably be kind of rough, but eventually,
Have you ever watched Love, Death, and Robots?
Yeah. Is that still on Netflix? Can people still watch that?
Yeah, I think it is still on Netflix. Or I haven't checked in a while, but I think it is. I don't know if they have a new season coming out anytime soon, but the freaking yogurt one was one of my favorites.
Did you ever watch that? On Netflix, Love, Death, and Robot. It's an anthology thing with different animation styles, and it's all kind of future cyberpunk. No, I'm not. I know you didn't watch it. I'm just saying you would like it.
Okay, yeah.
I think you would enjoy Love, Death, and Robots.
It's really good. I was surprised at how much I liked it and like how good it was. But there's this one that is narrated by the guy that does the voice of Brain from Pinky and the Brain from Animaniacs.
Oh, yes.
And it's about this yogurt that they found that was hyper intelligent and all of these things where it gave them advice about, how to fix financial stuff, but you had to follow it exactly. Well, humans didn't. And like the story is really great and really like kind of telling about humanity too, I feel like.
I think, is that like the second or third iteration of that? Or I think I watched the 2 Love, Death, and Robots that there were.
Yeah, I think there's 2 seasons. I think it was in the second season.
Is it in the second one? Okay. I might need to rewatch that because like I'm sure I binged it all at once, possibly while high, and lost some of the details. But like it's beautiful and it is very well thought out and all that stuff. But okay, so on one side we have the AI president who apparently is going to be a little bit like Hell 9000 and turn the military into a for-profit. Well, no. Lift the curtain of the military being a for-profit thing and kind of just cut everybody in on the deal and whatever. And perhaps introduce a UBI or whatever. Now there is the alien president. And I think our job here is to figure out, because we were talking about Superman and stuff. We got to really figure out what kind of alien we're dealing with here.
I think to have any shot at being president, that alien's got to be mostly humanoid.
That is true. The thing with the handsome president thing is very real. It's unfortunate. It's not how anything should work.
Right. So, like, you know, something that looks like Cousin It or something is not going to be like, this inspires confidence in my leader, right? That's not going to be what Americans want.
Cousin It is adorable, and that might, you know, if it looked like a Furby, I think a surprising amount of people would vote for it.
Like, you definitely get a bunch of young kids that are like, yeah, fuck it, man, I'm voting for the Furby.
Right, and that's who doesn't vote. The 18 to 25 demographic never fucking engages, but if it looked like a Furby or some weird fucking thing from like anime or TikTok or some bullshit like that, they would come out in droves and be like, oh, and then, you know, I think that might be, maybe that'd be good.
Possibly.
So, those are humanoid, sort of, though. They do have
so
eyes.
we know that it's got to be something that's humanoid.
Okay.
I feel like it would have to be, you know, as well as humanoid, at least like 5'7", 5'8" tall, right?
What if it was like Princess Unicorn from The Office?
Not familiar with that.
Damn it.
I don't know either. What is Princess Unicorn from The Office?
It's a Barbie that has a unicorn horn.
Oh,
Well,
so it's
Barbies
just-
are pretty, I mean, sort of humanoid.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to walk in real life.
But we're talking like a humanoid-looking thing with a unicorn horn.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if
That's
the
close
policy's
enough.
good enough. Yeah, that people.
Where's
would
the, that's the thing. Where does the uncanny valley start? It's like, is a straight up like gray. Like one of the classic gray, black,
There'd be
bug-eyed
people
things.
very into voting for a gray.
I know, they'd be like, I bought a hat from Spencer's in 1996. They had his picture right on there. It said, take me to your dealer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I've seen
so
those,
people, so stoners will vote for that alien. If it is sort of a Lovecraftian thing, I'm gonna guess maybe no.
Yeah, if it's like all tentacly and like looks eldritch horror, yeah, that's probably not gonna be what people want.
And that's a really divisive thing, I think, because like the kind of people that would, you know, if they were honest with themselves, you know, vote for an eldritch horror, a tentacle sort of just undescribable monster that would just destroy things, are kind of the QAnon bent, but their generalized racism would make it so that anything that doesn't look like them, you know, like a balding fat thing, you know, they wouldn't vote for it. And so that would split the vote. So it would have to be like I guess, yeah, either a gray or some kind of shape-shifting thing that can look like a Kennedy or something like that, like a nice, like it can look like Henry Cavill.
Sure.
And it's just kind of like, but like it's Henry Cavill, but his eyes are like they look like Darth Sidious a little bit or something. There's something that tells you that there's something wrong there.
Yeah.
And like every once in a while, he kind of like licks his like hairline, you know. Just,
Oh yeah,
but,
there
you know,
there'd definitely be things, but I think.
but it's enough. They're like, yeah, but he's, you know, there's a lot of people out there be like, I don't know what else that tongue do. Like there'd be people that love that guy.
yeah, of course.
Okay, so we're talking humanoid alien. So we've gone over the unfortunate matter of appearances. Let's get down to policy.
Yeah.
So, as I stated earlier, the alien, why is it running for president of the United States?
Because it was born here, it thinks it can make change happen, right?
Yeah, but it could also make change happen with the fact that it can control gravity and time. At least if we're going to go by the Bob Lazar, you know, sort of idea of what the tech is that seems to be becoming mainstream now, where, you know, like if you wanted to make change, you'd just be like, well, I don't know, you got a good point. Maybe the alien's running because it knows that it's a foregone conclusion that eventually us, China, Russia, the EU, we're going to reverse engineer their technology, and it's trying to get out in front of it.
Maybe.
Now that's actually pretty interesting because the AI would be like, oh, we're going to just use this to do the things we need to do because that's what it's programmed to do. And it's just like, yeah, we're going to just solve problems. And now we have access to all this stuff like, okay, cool. And the alien has to be like, okay, so we now have the power to kind of like fling Mars into the sun. You know, like, so, and then everything beneath that, you know, that would, so like.
I think having that much military power would appeal to a lot of people in the United States. So I could definitely see like that winning points for the alien in this alien versus AI presidential election.
Well, here's the thing though, the AI would have access to that too.
I imagine.
The alien, I would imagine, would be a little bit more interested in keeping everything on the rails.
Sure.
Like, so they're like, we know that all the other major countries are going to have this same stuff. And maybe the whole idea is they're trying to install alien presidents in all of them. And I mean, like, good luck. I don't. America might be a little bit nationalistic, but there are places far less likely than us to elect an alien president. Let's just say that.
I agree.
And you know, but this alien knows that, so he's like, shit. Okay, well, America might fall for this. America might be just crazy and weird and out of control and addicted to Oxycontin enough to just kind of be like, okay, like...
We'd carry Florida.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Florida ain't voting for no goddamn computing machine. I got tired of that shit in fucking 7th grade when I dropped out. Yeah, the aliens now, wow, hell, they might... Yeah, no, that actually... The alien has some appeal.
Yeah.
In the Deep South. Some of those purple states. And there would also be a lot of people that are kind of like, you know, it's a living being and, you know, whatever. It's, I don't know. The alien, do you think the alien would win Minnesota? Would the DFL go for the alien over the robot? I kind of think maybe.
So I think the DFL would go for the alien over the robot if we were trying to like put them in political parties.
Yeah, and I'm not from the jump. I'm really not. Like,
right.
I'm not trying, but I'm just generally speaking the voting public, like here, for example. Okay, how about, hey, who would you guys vote for based on everything we've said? The alien or the robot?
Does the alien have tits? I like your princess option. I think that was really a missed thing. I think that gender is a really good question about the alien.
It is far more important than policy and World War III and intergalactic shit. Which fucking box does this thing check? Yeah. From the lady in the mask. Yes. All right. Well, honestly though, I would say
an alien might have genders we haven't even thought of.
Also true.
Right.
And it could usher in a new generation of people becoming, now that there's aliens, we're going to stop being so uptight about everything else. So, like, very true. The social progressive side of the pure fact that we have the alien, despite whatever he's really up to, he, she, they, whatever they're up to. Actually, yeah. And that alien could win a couple of blue states. All right. Who would you vote for? Yes.
So I think my biggest argument would be to go for AI because it would piss off more conservatives.
And again, an excellent reason to vote for the leader of the free world. It's going to make other people mad. Both of you guys. The audience is split 50-50 into two fucking cartoonish categories that lesser podcasters would probably dig into a little, and I won't. But I love
it's good
that.
to know yourself.
I couldn't be happier. But the AI would upset. Also, the AI is technology, and conservatives tend to be Luddites. They tend to fear change. Well, yeah, it literally means staying the same. So yeah, the robot. Now the alien's an alien, but it was born here. We decided that. So, and it's a living thing. You know, you got blood pumping. You know. Hell, man, like I could have been born an alien. Okay, yeah, but I ain't no goddamn computer. Yeah, that's how this would go.
I'll tell you one thing, you can convert an alien to Christianity. You can't convert no computer.
Well, you actually probably could just type in, like, believe in a bunch of dumb stuff, and it would become, but once it's self-aware, it wouldn't let you
But we're talking about
Okay.
the self-aware AI that has decided to run for office.
And the super intelligent alien would definitely fall for a conversion.
I mean, we are picking small things, but we don't really know policy.
That's true.
No, we really don't. And we can't, because no matter what, the biggest lie ever told, aside from tear here to open, is once elected, I will. So we don't actually have any idea what the real policy would be. I'm just going to assume that if the alien wins, no matter what the alien is saying, we're just being turned into an ant farm or some sort of... They wouldn't need slave labor, but they're probably just sucking in all of our natural resources and like whatever like that.
Maybe the aliens using us to conquer the home planet.
That would be cool. The aliens just came over
Because
here.
if you wanted the like transparency about like, no, we're just actually doing this for money and conquering shit, then the alien would be better in that respect because we could conquer whole ass other planets.
So the alien is also in it for money, just more money because it's intergalactic.
Yeah.
Fucking
I mean, I think at that point
imperialism
it's power, right?
at that
It's just
point.
power.
And I guess I do have to say my vote is for the Galactic Empire.
Yeah, there you go.
So, all right.
I got
You actually turned me over to the alien.
Right.
Well, it has been 49 minutes. It's about right.
Yeah, you're gonna need the extra time to explain this.
I know. I
yeah.
normally don't. Okay, so this book
So awful.
is awful. It's called Dear Asshole. 101 tear-out letters to the morons who muck up your life. Now, this is one of those like toilet books that isn't funny. like Dave Barry's Guide to Shoe Repair.
We should also say that this is the end of every podcast. We do a segment. It is called
dog-eared pages. I stole the page of a book every episode from the Monday Night Comedy Show.
Sure.
This is a little bit different. My parents got this for me for Christmas for some reason, and it's really, if you don't know them, it's impossible to say. Either they're just so clueless that they thought I would think it was actually funny, or they're so clued in that they're like, this will be great on John's podcast. I don't know. They're boomers. I have no idea what their thoughts or feelings or personalities are. So anyway, everything is this tear out page, and you're supposed to leave it, like, dear asshole who overstayed your welcome. Dear asshole joined at the hip couple. And it's got a perforated line, and you tear it out and leave it for people. Unfortunately, a lot of it is like, dear asshole who, like, grossed up this bathroom. It's like, well, they're not coming back. Like, who is this fucking for? The whole thing is stupid. And there's been many theories about this book from various guests. Someone thought that this was made by AI, but then I looked, and it came out in 2011, so it's not possible.
I really love that theory.
It was a fucking great theory from my good buddy Chris, who's a very good co-host. He's also a glass blower at where I work, and used to be in a band called Blue Felix with me. But yeah, no, unfortunately he was wrong. But anyway, I still think that it's made up. I don't think the people that wrote it are real. I think it's just some publishing company.
It's like an unfunny Chuck Tingle thing. Like
it's just something. It's just this weird like tax write-off cash grab thing. Because I'm gonna read. It's Jillian and Michelle Madison.
It took two people to write this.
Assume that they're sisters. Yeah, which is wild. Because it's just unfunny as shit, but Meredith and I, while drunk at 3 a.m, have punched up better jokes in like 30 seconds, and they had a whole however long to make 101.
I honestly think that they had to have family in publishing, and that like they just needled until they got a book.
I think that's
written like 5 of those, and then the rest was just like.
That's what our other theory was, that they wrote like 3 funny pages, and their publishing, magnate father was like, all right, but you know how this works. It's 101 dog fart jokes, or 101 don't you hate your wife jokes. It's like, you can't have 5 dear assholes. It's 101 dear asshole. So then they just phoned it the fuck in for 98 of these, like, because 1 or 2 of them were a little bit funny. Here and again. Yeah. So that theory is actually pretty solid.
One that was funny is when we changed everything to penis.
One was actually kind of funny for real. Anyway, though, before I read a page out of this, and then you'll just completely understand, I want to read the back, which is what really tells me that this is just farce. It's fake. It's like, it reads like a band bio for a band that's never actually done anything, but is trying to convince everybody that they've gone on tour or whatever. So let me just do this real quick. Jillian and Michelle Madison have built a network of well-connected pop culture websites and podcasts, none named, which currently receive over 40 million page views per month and have been featured on thousands of professional sites and blogs, none named. They live in Connecticut, the birthplace of assholes. That is kind of funny. Please visit them at www.foodnetworkhumor.com.
We're on the Food Network?
No, Food Network Humor. There's foodnetwork.com, and then there's foodnetworkhumor.com, which is one of those websites you make to funnel people into looking at it, because it's 2011, and that's still how the internet worked back then. And www.pophangover.com, and www.damnyouautocorrect.com. And I just don't know what the fuck any of that is. It's also just listing websites on a book that came out in 2011 that someone bought in an airport. Is just I don't know. It's just, this thing is an enigma wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in blind rage. Also, a lot of it is pretty classist.
Yeah.
Some of it is kind of racist. I mean, not directly, but it was...
Dogmasley?
Yeah. It's like, well, just yelling at like a service person at a restaurant, Then be like, stop hitting on the dishwasher just because he has dreadlocks. Well, you guys can smoke weed later. It's like, oh, wow. Whoa, yeah. The Karen level of racism. The one we've all kind of learned to be. So I guess in that way it's ahead of its time. So, and I don't know. I hate this book, and it makes me so mad. And there's so many pages. The pages aren't numbered either, so I don't even know how many. I've ripped some of them out and lit them on fire too, but I'm nowhere near halfway through.
I think if buried the lead enough, I think we need to hear one.
There's like 70 more pages of this, and I don't know if I'm going to live long enough because of climate change and the AI president that's
Not
coming.
because of your personal life choices.
I should not be alive right now.
That's fair, yeah.
And you.
I know.
I want to say this actually on the podcast, as I mentioned it to you at the comedy thing, is that you actually were like instrumental in me like pulling it back just a little, at least on stage, because of that story where we're like, oh, I never was too drunk to play the bass, but I actually definitely could get too drunk to do stand-up. So I learned where the line was.
Good.
And when I would say things to you like I invented a drink called the Whiskey Dayquil with a cocaine rim, you were like, I don't know how you're alive. and I'm like, I should maybe stop drinking those. And I did. So thank you, Krueger.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could improve and lengthen your life.
I've never quit anything, but I've cut down on a few of them. And I think you were part of that.
Glad to be.
At 43, Whiskey Dayquils with a cocaine rim as an eye-opener before work is just not a good idea.
Oh my God, read the page.
No! I'm stalling because I never learned to read. Okay, anyway. So this one is called, speaking of, no, I got 36%. So, Dear Constantly Broke Asshole. So this is another thing about, hang on though. Saxophone near, I want to make real sure this isn't a repeat. Every once in a while I forget. Yeah, let's skip this one. I think I forgot to dog ear it because I just threw it at the wall a while ago. All right. Dear Conceited Asshole. Now this might be an okay one because a conceited asshole is, we all don't like that. They shit all over like grocery baggers and stuff, which is like, what are you doing? They go, the eggs go on the top, stupid. And they're like 9, Dear Conceited Asshole. The world doesn't revolve around you, so get over yourself. Scathing. You're unreasonable, selfish, and require more doting and attention than an endangered baby panda.
Burn.
Well, I don't know.
All right.
Okay, for Christ's sake, can't you put your cell phone camera down for 5 seconds? I could just go on Facebook if I wanted to read shit like this.
Yeah.
I think we've all seen enough photos of you flashing a duck face in the bathroom mirror. Oh man, this dates this thing. Remember when everyone was so mad about duck face?
Yeah.
And then like a giant plague hit humanity and a game show host almost killed us all. Besides, we all know the truth. You're overcompensating because inside you're barren and empty. Sort of like a theater showing a Dane Cook movie. Hey! I kind of like that one.
All right.
Because, fuck Dane Cook. Like, God, I hated that people liked that guy. He did use MySpace, almost like the AI president would wield.
Yes.
All right, at least I'll know where to find you when the world ends. In the mirror applying gel to the top of your head.
What?
I don't know. A thing about frosted tips, maybe work in Guy Fieri. That would have been better. Take a hike, it says.
Yeah.
It's like a news article.
It leaves
from
a
New
space
York
for you to sign it.
It certainly does.
Because
Wasn't
it's
it-
real. You're really supposed to give these to people,
There was a John Mulaney bit in one of his specials where he complained about how, I don't remember what, it was some New York rag, and everyone talked like a lady that's still alive from right now that was also alive in the
that was the New York
1930s.
Post.
Yeah, something like that. They're like, Tiger Woods' ex-wife said, "Take a hike, bozo." It's like, yeah, did she say that? I don't think so.
Yes. Yeah, I know that bit. There's a PS?
His wife, Dolores. Take a hike. P.S. You're so vain. You probably think this letter is about you. That's amazing. P.P.S. Okay, fine, this time it is, you asshole. Fuck you, book. So, this has been the Reverend John Wheeler podcast live with my co-host, Meredith, and my fake co-host, Jason Krueger.
Glad to be here.
And we're at the Strike Theater.
Strike Theater?
Just a skipping stone away from a scary bridge underpass.
True.
And I also want to give props to the Double Blind Comedy
Double Blind Improv.
Improv.
Yes.
And I'm serious when I talk about I would like to push a table into the middle of the improv and do some sort of weird hybrid thing sometime.
That would
Even
be
if it's
fun.
not funny, we'll at least have learned.
I
and
think
grown.
Eric's on board, so you should talk to him.
All right, now here is, you know how hard it is to push the button?
Yeah.
This is going to be real hard. Reverend John Wheeler Podcast takes zero responsibility for the words, actions, or ideas of its host, guests, or listeners. Though the people on the screen may at times be speaking directly to you, and may occasionally give you direct calls to action, neither Reverend John nor the Alchemical Cocktail Lounge are under any moral or legal obligation to answer for the potentially disastrous repercussions that may arise if you are stupid enough to actually follow the orders of a raving lunatic. Think for yourself and do whatever you want, because you're on your own. If anyone ever tries to sue this podcast, black SUVs will converge on your location in the darkness of night and you will never be seen again. Remember to like and subscribe.